All right, Basalt column rock project, a 4-footer, a 3-footer, and a 2-footer. These are the forms after I had built the rock over them and then took them out of the rock, but they're still good and usable. But I'm going to detail how I made this step by step using cardboard as a form to make the basalt column rock. Okay, so I basically stood the bubbler up on there, traced the bottom, and I discerned the measurements of each side. So I have a 14, a 16 and a half, a 15 and a half, a 13 and an 8 and 5/8. So I made my marks on there. I came over to a straight edge on the table and basically just folded them, repeatedly on the mark that I needed. And now I'll stand this up and join it together. So I've made a little more of a edge here that I can screw that to the other side and then it'll be affixed. I plan to cut this out as far as the base and the top and I'll screw it together. And that's what I'm going to do real quick and I'll show you that. Okay, the first step was put the two ends of the bubbler rock form together, screw them together, and then stand it up. All right, so next I'm basically going to install the bubbler top to the sidewalls. Okay, so I kept this back side up a little, and I'll tape this little hole, but I dropped this front side down to where I had a pitch, and I'm just going to cut off the extra cardboard on this side, and it's elevated all the way around the back, so this is going to be my front. And okay, I don't know how well this is picking up, but you can see I've cut a 25-degree slope, and I've got the laser on it, and then if I just scoot it just a little bit to the right side, now I've got it on the actual piece. Okay, so I've got the bubbler all screwed together. I even made a 1/2-inch plywood because it's going to be 1/2 inch thick. So this is the line I have. Now remember, this is on a sloped hill. So I have made the 25-degree slope in it. On the back, I'm going to come down with mud and mesh, layers of it, to make this a flange. We're going to stick rebar, 2 pieces, in the back so that the column rock would never fall forward. Now I just started with this and I sell this tool if you're interested in buying it. It's a tool to mess up the edge so it's not perfect, and then I tape it again. I hit this corner quite a bit. I was doing it off a camera, but I'm just trying to beat that down a little to where it's rough. And I'm also going to do some on the sides. The other thing I can do is that's a pop in. I also want to do some pop out, so I'm going to make some spray foam, and I could do this with mud it, get its structure, and then come back and add a little more mud for definition's sake for pop out coming towards us. So we pop in and we pop out. This is just like plywood. It's too pretty. I'm going to end up cutting it like a Y and then folding it into where there's a hollow in here, Just go ahead and cut the cardboard. You go, oh my gosh. It's as simple as making a few little cuts. And then again, adding a piece of cardboard to making that join back together. You can also do it with just simple tape here. And you can see that I'm going to get a certain, right about there. Actually, I'd like to get all that incorporated. So I need to cut this. Of course, I'm doing it. This has the same thing. I beat it with in fact, I beat it so hard that I split the cardboard here. Can you see that? How that's got a split in it? Well, again, that's not a problem. Let's do something with it. So again, here, there you go. Let me see if I can't capture that with a little more tape. Announcing it, there we go. See that? A little bit of a bulge there, a little bit of a deviation from the flat rectangular or, nice 90-degree corner. There isn't one. Especially the hard corner. That does not take a lot. Oop, and there, see how I actually ripped the cardboard, but that's okay. I'm dealing with just this edge right now, and I like what I see. And when we get done, you don't have a perfectly formed rectangle box. It's got some life to it. Okay, formerly, this edge right here was very much a vertical plumb line, but if you now take the straight edge, what have I gone in, about 1 inch there? Let me turn a better straight edge. From top to bottom, you can see the light of day in there, I would presume. Yeah, you're seeing it. Okay, now, on the table here, I don't know if you can see this. I think you can. I'm going to move the straight edge. And I'm just using the table's edge as a bend, a break. And now I've got that folded. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mess this up. I like it wrinkly, so it's not all perfect. And then I just cloak that on there. And you can see right now I've kept to my basic shape. But I'm just going to screw that together. And that's going to be my elevation change that I spoke of earlier, just to take that away from being the ugly thing that it is right now. And I'm going to leave it drop down so that I get a little rounded. Like I had this motioning down. I'd like to continue that. So at the most, I'll probably put it about right there and just screw it in. Now see how that lifts up like that? I'm going to leave that and I'm going to tape it back down to where that tape goes from this point to this point. You see the hole back there? I'm just going to tape that. And I like this little crease in here, and I'm going to play it when I do the mudding. Well, accentuate it when I do the mudding. There we go. Doesn't take a lot of screws to hold the cardboard in place, but that's what we just did. I've got 5 screws and that thing ain't going nowhere. Now, the magic of the tape to give me an outer skin that is continuous. I've got an edge here from this rise that then tapers back to that. This is a pop out. And this side here is looking a whole bunch better. And again, straight line in a drawing fashion, just drawing it. This is off of that by maybe, I don't know, an inch. And I'm going to push this now out an inch to where this vertical line is more skewed. This was perfectly plumb. And now by taking this and pushing it over just a little bit, I'm going to make this a different parallel. It's got a little bit of a slight skew to it. I'm going to have a nice little ledge here. That's okay, so I got the 4, 3, and 2 all done. They all have the slope already on it with the form to make the bracket on the back side here, which will go 1 rebar stake per one. Every one of these has got that. So I added some life to it. I beat up the corners, but I'm getting ready to apply the high strength fiber reinforced mix, which I'll do at a quarter inch, and then there'll be about 1/8 of an inch of texture mud. But this will be mesh, mud, mesh, and then the texture, and it'll be a total of a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch. I've added some life to the cardboard. When you first saw it, it had really, like this side is a back side, and I didn't really give much to it other than I made this, you know, have a bend in it. It's not a vertically plumb, nor is this one. So, but you can see where I've made, you know, the bend ends and the little crinkled corners, and it's just now ready for cement. So I'm gonna start mudding, and I'll show you that as we go. All right, just starting out with my high strength fiber reinforced synthetic composite, and it's made with a cement, but it's something that's really strong. And this whole rock is only going to be 5/8 of an inch thick max. And right now I'm trying to put just under a quarter inch, just enough mud on the plastic to where I can embed the mesh that I'm putting in there. So I'll do a coat of the mud mesh, and then I'll put another coat of the thin mud, the mesh, and a very thin coat just to cover up the mesh. And when you see me texturing this, just before texturing it, you can see that it's not fully, you know, void of the image of the mesh. But the splatter texture that goes on top of this really covers all that anyway. But I want the mesh, the fiber reinforcement by itself would be strong, but coupling it with the mesh, it makes it bulletproof. So this is something that I've really refined as compared to my peers in the group of the industry, I should say. But anyway, right now, just going around and just putting a layer and putting some mesh, putting a layer, putting some mesh. I don't know how to best edit these types of movements, so I tried to keep it short, but you know, I'm just putting one coat on when this one actually gets 2 from fiber and mesh, and then one last coat of the fiber mud over it. Okay, so this morning I came in and I stripped the forms off that I used to create the slope pitch, and I drilled the holes for the stake. And like I say, this is a 2-foot stake. It's not needed. It's only 3-foot bubbler, but it's on a slope. So I made 2 holes in a flange that's meshed really well together. So it's a good lockdown for this rock. But as you can see right now, all I've got left to do is a splatter coat of texture. But this rock has undulation and deviation from just the flat cardboard that it was once. You can see the big, you know, hollow in here and the pop out here that give it a very unique look. And it does look like a basalt rock, and especially when you see the picture that the gentleman sent me, the splatter texture is going to give it a final appearance that looks very realistic. So got these 2 to mud this morning, but right now I did 2 batches, which is 25 pounds a batch. That rock weighs 50 pounds. It's 24 inches basically square if you were to square it, and it's 4 foot tall from this point to this point, but that other piece is a little more. So 50 pounds for a rock that size is nothing. Anyway, stick with me, guys. Okay, so I applied mesh and mud twice, and on this one, and that one is just ready for texture, like I said, and this one's going to be after I put the one more thin coat of fiber mud on it, and then I'm going to start mudding this little 2-footer. Stick with me. Okay, so that one I mudded yesterday, obviously. These 2 I just finished today, and they're going to be ready for texture tomorrow and stain the next day. So stick with me. I got it all working in the right direction anyway. Okay, just getting ready to texture this one because the other 2 are still drying and they'll be texturable tomorrow. But right now, I put this on a dolly, furniture dolly, and then wrapped it up so the lower apparatus would not get all covered with splatter. And about ready to make this a done deal. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put an acrylic bonding agent. It's the same glue that we used in the mud. And you can see the fiber, but it's you know, I laid it down with shrink wrap when I put it on so it would be less noticeable, but the splatter is going to take it out of the equation. You will not see it. So stick with me. I'm going to put the bonding agent on, let it dry, and then mix up the texture and start splattering. Okay, so this is 100% acrylic. There's a lot of brands out there. Not 100%, what do you say? It's not an acrylic latex. It's not a latex. It's an acrylic. 100%. It's in water. It's carried in water. Waterborne, they would say. So a lot of brands out there, a lot of manufacturers of it. But you want to make sure it's 100% acrylic, and then we find out the solid levels. How much can you dilute it? There's so many solids suspended in the water as a carrier. So this one is 28%. So I can dilute it 3 parts of water to 1 part of the glue. You don't want to buy, economically speaking, a glue that is already diluted because you're buying water. And if you want to buy water, get a hold of me. Anyway, I'm going to paintbrush this on, let it dry. And this is the same glue that we put in the cement. So we can put glue to anything as long as it's clean and oil free. And then let it dry, mix this same glue in the mud. Now we're going to get a bond, and our strength will be more strength too. So stick with me. Okay, you got to keep this brush clean. Dip it in water, agitate it, and if not, it closes up and starts to get to where it won't atomize. The link for this brush, there's only one company I know of that sells them. It's like 24 bucks. It's a splatter brush. That's what it is for pool decks mainly. But anyway, this mix is extremely runny, okay? Whereas the mix that I did for that rock over there with the Panther is much more coarse, and I'll get you up on both close. Both of these jobs are going to take multiple passes. You don't want to throw mud and then throw more mud into wet mud because then it makes impact craters. So I'm going to texture this. This is probably maybe a 50% coverage. I don't know, but it's not going to be done all at one, usually about 3 passes. Now this is a finer texture. The thicker your mud, the more coarse it is. And if you start looking at this stuff, this is like a granite, and this is not what I'm after. Basalt's a little smoother. You can see this is pretty dried out here when I was throwing this, but the overall texture is a rough granite. I don't want that. That was a thicker mud. These were done at the same time. You really can't see, trying to see it. Like here's a little better. Anyway, it's just the difference between your viscosity being the key component here. I'm gonna let this sit, take about maybe a half an hour, and then hit it again. It depends on the ambient temperature outside. We're not in direct sun, it's in the afternoon, about 6 o'clock or evening now. It would dry a lot better if I was high noon, but let it dry. It won't take long. Stick with me. 3 passes. Oh, I didn't include the stain because the stain's really hard to pick up. Like today, this one was in the shadow about right here, and this one was in the sun, and it's really not easy to show you, but it's got some color to match the rocks that he wanted them to look like, and it's hard to really pick that up on camera, but they're stained and sealed with a 100% acrylic sealer carried in a xylene based solvent. Every 5 years you need to clean it and then respray it, but that's all wrapped up and ready to be loaded up tomorrow, and we're taking it to Wenatchee, Washington, going on a little river trip and dropping these off at the customer's house. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and share, and thank you so much for watching my video. Bye. All right, so there's the cardboard carcass. All right, so there's the cardboard carcass, came out nice and sweet. Again, the taping makes it to where the mud cannot bond, but that's you can still see the detail of the tape and the cardboard, but it's built and textured and stained and sealed, just getting ready to deliver it. This is the big 4-footer, and I got these two right here. And then what's interesting is normally I destroy the cardboard getting it out, and all these have the cardboard removed. You probably can't see it, but look over there. They're all ready to go for another batch. I mean, I can't believe I just started collapsing it in, squeezing it in, and then just pulled it out. It was really the best extraction I think I've ever experienced. But again, I'm more experienced than I've ever been as well. So the old boy tells me, he says, when I was calling him about the staining of these things, he goes, oh yeah, keep your nose because we're gonna want 3 more. And I'm like, well, I can use these again. Instead of having the slope on the side that I made it, I would make the slope on the other side. And these things took me, I'd say about 2 hours a piece to make. So I got a day in making these. So that's one saving, because I was like, I don't know if I'd be interested in doing another job because it took me quite a while. Anyway, stick with me, sports fans. Hey, I wanted to show you those bubbler rock forms that I have. They're ready to use again. I mean, I'd have to do a little taping up. This had a slope because it was on a hill, so I wouldn't do that. These will be flat. I just got to screw the bottom back on, which I had to access to get the piece out in the first place. But they're ready to be used again with a slight bit of modification.